www.wadr.org. WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 o'clock in Porto Novo. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world. We are live on WADR.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. John Dramani Mahama takes oath of office as Ghana's president for his second term with the first ever female vice president.
I, John Dramani Mahama,
having been elected
to
the high office of President of the Republic of Ghana, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will be faithful and so help me God.
In Nigeria, a bomb explosion leaves 1 dead, 3 injured at an Islamic school in Abuja.
In the scene, one person died there flat. The 3 other persons were rushed to the hospital. That is the other 3 persons. They were 4.
And Senegal's Director General of Police embarks on the first historic visit to the Gambia to consolidate bilateral ties between both countries. Côte d'Ivoire launches first edition of National Cotton and Cashew Producers Day to aim at enhancing value addition. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Many thanks for joining us and a warm welcome to our listeners in the Gambia, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Ghana. And Newslink actually begins in Ghana. But I'm here in studio with my colleague Abdullahi Hassan. Abdullahi, we're beginning the bulletin in Ghana because President-elect John Dramani Mahama has officially taken oath of office as the new head of state. Mahama, for the third time, took his oath as Ghana's president for the third time at the Independence Square in the presence of thousands of dignitaries, including African leaders, special envoys, and representatives of Western government and organizations. Mahama, the opposition leader who started his political career as a communication minister, won the presidential election late last year after pledging to tackle the economic crisis, corruption, and unemployment.
And very well, Chris, let me just say good afternoon to you and our esteemed listeners out there. And of course, a big congratulations to you and Ghana for this wonderful democratic journey. And like you said, Mahama, who is now 65, was previously Ghana's president between July 2012 and January 2017, and will replace current President Nana Akufo-Addo at a time when the country faces its worst economic crisis in a generation. So here is John Dramani Mahama taking his oath of office.
I, John Dramani Mahama,
having been elected
to
the high office of President of the Republic of Ghana, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana, that I will at all times preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I dedicate myself to the service and well-being of the people of the Republic of Ghana, and to do right to all manner of persons. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Indeed, congratulations to John Dramani Mahama as he takes over as the president of Ghana.
Interesting. And Abdullah, it would be very interesting to make our listeners understand that Mahama, first of all, was sworn in as Ghana's president after the demise of the late John Evans Atta Mills in July 2012. And then he served the rest of John Atta Mills' term. And then later in election 2012, he won that particular election. And today, in this particular election, he's promised to reset the country on various fronts during the campaign time. And he actually prioritizes the economy at large, which appealed to a lot of Ghanaians. And that actually saw him win this particular landslide victory in the just ended election.
The world in which Ghana exists today, as I begin this presidency, is not the same world in which we have lived under other presidencies. There are tensions and conflicts that have not previously existed between nations. These tensions and conflicts place pressure on alliances to decide where we will support. There's a seismic shift happening within the system of global economic dominance. Whereas the G7 nations, United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan once provided the highest percentage of the world's GDP, over the last decade, that number has been steadily dropping. However, the combined total of the GDP of the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, UAE, their GDP has been consistently increasing. In 2023, for instance, the G7's combined total of world GDP was 30%. But by 2029, that number is predicted to drop to 27%. In 2023, the BRICS percentage of world GDP was 37.3%.
So that's John Dramani Mahama making his first public speech as president of the 9th Parliament in the 4th Republic.
And I love that you said his first public speech, because for the next 4 years, a lot of evaluation or assessment of his policies, reforms, and actions will be gauged or evaluated based on his speech today, very much of which we are going to start on this edition of Newslink.
Exactly. And just a quick one to add, Africans are getting worried and troubled about policies and promises that politicians make.
Oftentimes that they will live unfulfilled.
In the context of Nanado, he gave us the best promises that if he truly had adhered to, Ghana by now would be a better place. But unfortunately, here we are. And even on this particular auspicious day in Ghana's democracy history, when former President John Dramani Mahama makes a comeback after his defeat in 2016 general election to usher in the 4th Republic and the 9th Parliament, expectations remain very, very high. In fact, according to local polls, newly inaugurated President Mahama may come under pressure to fix the damage caused by outgoing administration of Nana Akufo-Addo. And some experts have said that the need for change championed Mahama's victory rather than the trust in his person and experience as former head of state.
And so at the moment, for President Mahama to end citizens' trust and confidence, actionable measures should override the status quo in critical sectors of Ghanaian society.
Well, for me as an importer and a businessman, the exchange rate has been a big issue on our business, because you can decide to purchase dollar at any rate and it's very high at the moment, and then the rate keeps on going high, and then you don't know how much you're going to buy your goods for. It's very difficult to purchase goods from outside the country regarding the current exchange rate.
What I'll be looking at is the educational sector. For me, this government have done well with the educational sector, even though it hasn't managed the affairs of the country very well. With the free education, I think it has helped the less privileged, and it has helped a lot of people I know. It has taken more people from the street, and I think that's a good thing. So I think that's a good point, and I hope maybe the next government will do better.
As it stands now, the rate of unemployment in the country is out of hand and it's getting worse. And we need to find ultimate solution and to create more jobs for the youth.
So that's President Mahama when he would seek to renegotiate the terms of $3 billion international monetary fund bailout secured last year to restructure the country's debt. And he has also promised to ease business regulations, introduce a 24-hour triple shift work system, enact tax reforms, and invest some $10 billion in modernizing infrastructure in the country. All of these are some good news that the business community.
Well, Chris, you've actually talked about him renegotiating the IMF $3 billion package, business regulations, introduce a 24-hour triple shift work system. Yeah. This has been very contested, and surprisingly, of all the 12 or 13 candidates in the elections, they all mentioned how they're going to make Ghana a 24-hour economy. That is yet to be seen, so wait on Mahama to do that. However, during his final campaign rally, he said that the December 2024 election was not just another election, but a defining moment for the country. So other issues that the new elected president will have to address, at least according to him, in the first 100 days in office will be first the power crisis, which in Ghana is referred to as Dumsor. He also talked about addressing illegal mining, or galamsey, which today has polluted hundreds of water bodies and caused serious health and environmental crises in areas where these sites are located. He also talked about addressing the frequent strike by workers' unions over salary and wage increments. And finally, this is a very big issue too, but many people are talking about it. Let's see whether or not he's going to keep to his promise. He talked about approving, or rather reviewing, the anti-gay bill.
Yeah, the anti-gay bill. He has also said that he would consider it. And then when the BBC guy asked him what would have he done when he was the president, he said he would rather refer it to the Council of State as at that time. But now that he's been president, it means that, look, now that the bill ended in the last parliament, it means that they would have to go through the whole process from scratch again before it would reach again.
But is it necessary that they will have to review the whole process? Because Alban Bambin, the former president, the Speaker of Parliament, was also today retained or inaugurated as the Speaker for the 9th Parliament. Yeah. So it's in essence, all the work has been done. All documents are there for him to just look at one more time and see whether or not he's going to accept.
Yeah. And a very important committee that he's also put up, which is the ORA, which is Operation Recover All the Loot, because he believes that under the EXO administration, lot of fraudulent deals actually went through. And then he's actually set out this committee. Yesterday in Parliament, the then majority leader, now the minority leader, says that, look, he does not really see the need for this particular committee because it would be a witch hunt committee where it would be targeting people individually and then becoming after them. He feels that state institutions, corruption watch institutions, should rather take up these mantles.
Well, the next 100 days in office for Ghana's newly elected president, John Dramani Mahama, will determine the course of direction. And Chris, this will be about it for me on the first half of the news. You have it all the way.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
And away from matters of presidential inauguration issues, let's turn attention to some regional developments, because in Nigeria, in a suburb of Abuja, the country territory, FCT, a suspected bomb explosion occurred on Monday, and Usman Umar has more in this particular report.
Authorities believe 3 men reportedly from Katsina, the northwestern region of the country, carried the device to the school. While tampering with the explosive on the veranda of the school, it reportedly detonated, killing one of the men and injuring 3 others, along with a female trader who was nearby. The injured individuals were immediately rushed to the hospital for urgent medical care and are currently under police supervision. John Gabaya is the chairman of Buari Area Council.
The Malam that said he was the one that brought them, I now asked DPO immediately to take him so that to interrogate him. But in the scene there, one person died there flat. The 3 other persons were rushed to the hospital. That is the other 3 persons. They were 4, according to what the Malam said. Then there is one other girl that was selling awara. So on the process, when she was doing that, the thing exploded and she was close to them, wounded her also. So they took the three of them to the hospital.
Following a distress call from the village leader, the police, including the Explosive Ordnance Disposal EOD team, quickly cordoned off the area to ensure the safety of residents and begin an investigation. The Federal Capital Territory Bomb Squad has confirmed the explosion was caused by an IED with fragments recovered from the site. The owner of the school, Malam Adamu Ashimu, has also been taken into custody by the police for questioning as investigations continue. The incident has raised concerns over safety in the area and highlights the ongoing threat of explosive devices in civilian spaces. Authorities have also promised to provide updates as the investigation unfolds. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
You're still listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio. Here is a reminder of our story so far. John Dramani Mahama takes oath of office as Ghana's president for a second term with the first ever female vice president. In Nigeria, a bomb explosion leaves 1 dead, 3 injured, and at an Islamic school in Abuja. Also in this package, we have the guest interview and sports. Stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Thank you very much for staying on. Remember that we're live on Facebook at WADR English Service as well as YouTube at WADR News. To other developments in Guinea, a young man died on Monday during the demonstration of the Living Forces, with some persons sustaining injuries and about 20 arrested made among the activists and leaders of the opposition political party. This was after the government deployed the police and gendarmerie and the army to restore public order. The opponents have announced that the demonstration will continue until the departure of the ruling junta and the establishment of a civil transition. Abdullahi Hassan has the details.
It was in the T8 district located in the commune of Ratoma that young Mamadou Bello Sidibe was reportedly shot dead. He was hit in the abdomen, rushed to the hospital, and succumbed to his injuries a few hours later. A new case of death in the opposition demonstrations, which the opponents deplore. The junta's supporters accuse the active forces of wanting to establish chaos in the country through these demonstrations, as in 2009 under the junta led by Captain Musa Dadis Kamara. Bella Kamano is a member of a movement supporting the ruling junta, the General Synergy Mamadi Doumbouya 2025. He calls on opponents to favor the path of dialogue. Calls for calm and restraint are coming from everywhere, with several opinion leaders and civil society organizations inviting the vital forces and the military in power to dialogue. At the end of their first day of demonstrations, the forces' views, a large opposition coalition called on their activists to remain mobilized until the military leaves power.
And that was Chiano Alpha Ibrahim about this report, voiced by Abdullah Hassan.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
So let's join Grace Joshua from Liberia for the press review.
For today's edition of the press review, papers we are following are the Front Page Africa newspaper, the New Dawn newspaper, and the Women Voices newspaper. On the front page of the Front Page Africa newspaper, this story says, many the broken wounds, majority bloc playing reconciliation retreat to resolve leadership impasses amidst rule of law caucus planned press conference. President Bouakar's State of the Nation address to move from Capitol building. President Joseph Bouakar's second message, commonly referred to as the State of the Nation address, will not be delivered at the Capitol building, according to Representative Jean Collet, chairman of the Rules, Orders and Administration Committee of the majority bloc. This source says Bouakar could depart for Mahama inauguration amidst legislative crisis President Joseph Yuma Bouaka and Majority Bloc Speaker Richie Nkoon has departed Liberia for Ghana to attend the inauguration of Ghanaian President-elect John Mahama. We now bring you the Women Voices newspaper. This story says, a call for change, an open letter to young revolutionaries of the University of Liberia. In a stirring and thought-provoking letter addressed to young revolutionaries of the University of Liberia, Councillor Charles Lynn N. Bronskin has called for a radical shift in perspective regarding the newly appointed president of the university. The letter, which has rapidly gained traction across various platforms, challenged the students to embrace change and reconsider their resistance to new administrations. MPA boss in face-off with Senate pro tem. The National Port Authority strongly opposed an effort by the Liberian Senate to make local ports across the country autonomous. All is not well between the managing director of the National Port Authority, Sekou A.M. Dukle, and Senate pro tem, Yombli Kanga Lawrence. This is how we come to an end of today's edition of the Press Review. I'm Grace Joshua in Monrovia.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Well, I guess this afternoon we go back to Ghana and had a conversation with senior finance lecturer with the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Seyram Kawan. He speaks about the possible impact of a new government and the expectations of Ghanaians from President John Dramani Mahama.
We have been talking about doing the right thing, making sure that there is economic prosperity for the citizens. The president-elect has come up under the slogan or the vision of resetting Ghana, resetting the economic trajectory of the country, resetting the mindset of the country, making sure that all amounts that have been looted and corruption and all those things are investigated. And so everybody is expecting that things will be better.
And so to the international communities and the investor community that they have been sitting on the fence looking at how deteriorating our city has been, how economic fortunes have not been so improved over the years, what would this new era of governance mean to those people?
Every economy and every business can only foster and prosper when there is peace and the political climate in the country is very peaceful. We can say today with confidence that Ghana is a peaceful country. We've had democratic election. There has not been any fear. Business is as usual. We are transferring power to another president, and that will tell all of us that yes, as a country, we are capable of living in peace and harmony. There is no fighting. We may disagree with each other, but we use the legal means to solve almost every issue that comes on board. And so the international community that is watching Ghana sitting on the fence, those who want to invest, Ghana is a good destination to come in. Get in touch with those who are in leadership. Get in touch with the communities. The issues of land and all those things can be resolved when they do the necessary checks with Lands Commission and all those things.
From where you sit as a senior finance lecturer with the University of Cape Coast, what is really the day-to-day bread and butter issue with the Ghanaian people that they truly need this particular change?
Yeah, we have had inflation that is more than 20%. As we speak, the last November inflation rate is 22.something%. We have had borrowing cost, that's interest rate, that is more than 25%. We have transportation in terms of fuel that we have very high. Utilities are increasing almost every 3 months. That makes the cost of living for the ordinary Ghanaian very expensive. Sometimes people will have to ration what they eat. And a lot more of the taxes that we actually pay in the country when we don't see the value for the things that we want to get.
And that's Senior Finance Lecturer with the University of Cape Coast Business School, Dr. Seiram Kawo. Let's join Sankoli Janko for details in the world of sports.
Hello there, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us. The draw for the CAF African Nations Championship CHAN 2024 will be conducted at Kenya International Conventional Center in Nairobi, Kenya on Wednesday, 15 January 2025. The much anticipated tournament is uniquely reserved for African footballers plying their trade in their domestic leagues. The CAF African Nations Championship will take place from 1 to 28 February 2025 in 3 countries, namely Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. The tournaments will be graced by several of African football's powerhouse nations, including reigning champions Senegal, who aged 2022 host Algeria in the final in Algiers 3 years ago to lift the title for the first time. As in previous editions, the CHAN 2024 promises to be a unique showcase of African football and a stepping stone for emerging talent to shine, such as Lamine Camara of Senegal, who has since become a global star and was recently voted Young Player of the Year at the 2024 CAF Awards, and former president of Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, and FIFA Council member Amaju Pinnick has reportedly said the Super Eagles will get a substantive head coach any moment from now. Pinnick, in a recent interview, said football authorities in Nigeria will soon announce a coach who will lead the Super Eagles on permanent basis. Super Eagles have been without a permanent coach since the departure of George Finidi in June 2024. Nigeria is currently being led by Augustine Ogovon as the interim head coach. He secured a place for the Super Eagles in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON Morocco. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
And we've come to the end of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting live on 94.9 FM. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Mustafa Sek for the technical work, as well as Sheikh Njai. Do interact with us on all of our social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook at WADR English Service. I am Christopher Aticho. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We